Welcome back. Here is a provocative phrase that I will use at the beginning of this conversation to set the stage. I'm excited for the topic, and the topic is the world of work is broken. I have some thoughts of my own on this topic, but the fellow who is with us this morning, who has written Employee 5.0 and is full of the very latest on thoughts, research, and opinion about the workplace, our pal, the recruiter guy, Bill Humbert. Good morning, Bill. How are you? Great to see you, my friend. Always good to see you.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. And as I say, and we talked a little bit, I have some concurrence with your provocative statement that the world of work is broken, and explain what you mean by that and fill out that definition a little bit.
Well, you know, over the years, we've seen things happening, but last year, Gallup quantified it. They did a study, and it's the 2017 State of the American Workplace. And they found in that they looked at a bunch of different roles in business, but the two I'm going to pick out are the frontline managers and professionals. 29% of frontline managers are engaged in their jobs, and only 36% of professionals are. And so, in my mind,
those are staggering numbers.
That means 71% of frontline managers are not engaged.
Right.
Holy cow.
What are we doing wrong?
Yeah.
It's all about that environment.
It's the environment, it's what leads up to the environment, and it's really important for companies to understand that the fixes are really not that difficult.
Well said, and talk about that, because as I, with just a little bit of reviewing your materials this morning, but as I think about it, and like I say, as I think back on my experience in the professional workplace, it does feel like a lot of what is a problem just comes down to people and attitudes. Of course, I know that it's more complicated than that, but maybe in some ways it isn't. The vibrancy that you bring to the workplace as a human being in the morning on a Wednesday.
Right, like today.
Like today.
So think about this. When do you begin to trust somebody?
Right.
Your first experience with them. What's the first experience for new employees? Being recruited.
Right.
So you take that and you hear people say, well, I tried to apply for that company, but it's a black hole. Where's the trust?
Right.
And so companies, instead of employing more technology to screen candidates out, I'd suggest, and what I do suggest to my clients, is that what they should do is get the manager more involved in the sourcing.
Yes.
Because that's going to impact their group. And you know what? The top level managers, top 10%, they like recruiters, but they're out there looking for their people,
right.
Their team. They want to build their team. I need this, and I know where I can go find it.
Right. And the fact that the manager is the person who lives with that talent and with that entirety of a human being, it's a complicated equation to figure out prior to someone being in the environment, being in the workplace.
That's right. So if you get the managers more involved in the sourcing,
it makes total sense.
Then now they're building the relationship with the candidate, and the trust level is going to go way up.
Yeah.
And people have said, well, how do you scale that in a big company? Well, there's lots of managers. Let them all do it.
Right.
That's part of their job, or should be.
Should be. Yeah, and a subtle distinction at the end, but one that really is central to changing these statistics, which I think, as we're sort of toggling back and forth from saying, well, here's a specific example, and with a manager, with a frontline person, and then we go to the Gallup statistics, and there's a big gap, and yet these two things are inextricably tied together because the Gallup statistics are so dramatic that they say, to me, this is happening everywhere.
Right, right. And it does, yeah, obviously there's going to be companies that are right on track, totally know what they're doing.
Sure, sure.
But so many just take their eye off the ball.
And isn't it funny to put it that way, that you think, well, we're talking about our business, your business, to do that, to take your eye off the ball. What are you thinking about?
Right.
It's a big question.
Right.
Talk about Cache Valley, because that's an example, and as we kind of move, we're sort of moving through the onboarding process of meeting a recruiter, getting that first interview, going to the company, meeting people, but we're still very early on in the process.
Well, and so onboarding occurs right after somebody accepts. That's their start date. And so often in companies, what happens is the company shoves a piece of paper at them and says, fill out this form that demonstrates you can work in the U.S.
Right.
Fill out this piece of paper.
Right.
That one's, I want to know what deductions you want. Watch the sexual harassment
Right.
video. Watch the safety video. Now get to work.
Right.
Well, this person who was so excited about starting has just had
Right.
a gut hit.
Yeah.
So what I suggest, and Cache Valley Electric is a super example. They were founded in 1915. The family still owns the business. 103 years later, going on 104 years.
It's crazy.
And they have grown with the industry. It used to be they would just wire buildings. Back when that was all that was needed.
Right.
Now they've got 6 or 7 divisions. They build the transmission lines, they wire buildings, they have a division that helps engagement in companies because they build the infrastructure inside the conference rooms, so you can video conference, you can
Right.
teleconference,
Sure.
you can record meetings, all of those things that you need for distance type meetings.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And they've got another group that's a security group, and the security group makes our building safe for our employees and our guests.
Mm-hmm.
And that group even does ground radar security. It's so cool what they do. And then you have the outside group, and what they do is they install the LED lights, they install traffic lights, the electronic signs you see across the highway. They're in all the pieces of electricity that serve us. Now, wouldn't it be better if that story was told, as opposed to fill out this, fill out that, watch this,
Right.
watch that,
Right.
go to work?
Right. Right. Absolutely.
And then what happens? That person goes home and they go, Huntsman Cancer Center, my company built part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so much of that that's contained really in every business in a lot of ways. And it takes me back to your comment about taking your eye off the ball, that so much of what you're referring to, I don't want to say, if I say it's common sense, that makes it sound like it should have been that way. And there are reasons why companies develop an identity that is separate from who the people are. What are your recommendations for folks in regard to onboarding and throughout this entire process?
So onboarding, that's what I would suggest. Make people proud of being there. Give them a reason to be engaged.
Said. So well said.
And then engage with them. And I call it actuate. Actuate with them. And the way you do that is you help them set goals. Goal-setting employees who achieve their goals, by definition, are engaged.
Yeah.
And then you want to retain those goal-setting employees.
Yes.
So
Very
what you
important.
do is you offer them growth opportunities, and you help them make positive, measurable impacts and have fun. If you do that, retention is not a problem.
Right. Right.
And people are hearing this more and more, but it's very true. People leave managers, not companies. They may love the company, but the manager is preventing them from growing.
And that's really powerful and so illustrative, because, as you say, no matter what you think of the company, if you report to somebody that isn't feeding you in ways of career growth, you're going to look for that somewhere else.
Right.
and now you've got retention problems, and now you wonder why your key customers maybe are on the fence because the guy, the gal who has taken care of them for years has left the company.
Right. Or has become disengaged.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
Yeah, because now you don't have somebody in the chair that's doing the optimal job. Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
Thanks.
I like it. You always
and
have...
it's just small little steps. If they would just do those small little things, it would make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. Hey, let's talk about what you got coming up. You've got a busy December, and it's going to be 2019. Is
coming
that
up
crazy or
soon.
what?
Yeah, you know, this is the best time of year to recruit and the best time of the year to look for jobs. I have 5 webinars. I've got one today, one Friday, 2 next week, one on the 19th. 2 or 3 of those are for recruiting, 2 of those are for this person, the Employee 5.0. I'm working diligently on my next book, my 3rd book, and it's for people who are over 50. And I've got a title, Expect Success, The Art of the Over 50 Job Search.
That's great.
And that'll be coming out early in 2019.
That's exciting. A timely topic. Our workforce is changing in ways that, it occurs to me, are sort of outside of what the makeup of our workforce is, but the ways in which we have viewed older workers, et cetera, has changed and necessitates an approach for that person who is job seeking who's over 50 years old.
Yeah, and those are Gen Xers now. Isn't that hard to believe?
It's crazy. Yeah. Time keeps on passing by.
You know, one more thing. I get a kick out of these millennial YouTube videos that you see. Can you imagine if there were YouTube videos in the 1960s when us boomers were growing up?
Oh, I would love to see some. I'd love to see some vintage Bill Humbert, everybody.
Oh my!
I love it. What a great thought! It is an interesting thing that we live in a world that's so different in that way, and certainly we have to be accountable for ourselves in that milieu because it exists, and it's part of the world that we live in now.
Yes, it is. And the millennials are wonderful. If you get them engaged, if you do the things to get them engaged, that's all they're looking for.
Yeah.
Help me grow, help me to be engaged. That's what they're looking for.
It's fantastic stuff. Great work, my man. It's always good to see you, and a really good and I think very timely topic this morning. Tell folks where they can get this book, Employee 5.0, from the recruiter guy, Bill Humbert.
Right on Amazon. That's the best place. It's easy. You're on Prime. You get it in 2 days.
Nice. And tell folks where to connect with you.
I'm recruiterguy.com. It's the best way to reach me.
Excellent. Great to see you. Happy holidays. I understand you're staying here.
Staying here.
Got your traveling done.
Yep. Actually finished decorating a Christmas tree last night.
You did. Fantastic. Well, it's all coming together. Great to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming and joining us here on Park City Television on the morning show, and best wishes for 2019.
And you too, Terry. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, there it is. Wednesdays, we talk about business, and didn't we today? Always great to have our pal, Bill Humbert, with us. There it is, Employee 5.0. So much great information in all of Bill's books. He's got a new one coming out in 2019 for the older worker. If that is you, keep your eye on recruiterguy.com. Thank you to Chris Coachella for being here as well. And of course, our pal Emily Summers from the lovely, always lovely Deer Valley. Let's get on out there and make some beautiful turns. We hope that you guys have a fantastic day. For everyone here at Park City Television, I'm Terry Burden. Make sure to tune in tonight at 6 p.m. when I will be back in the studio with live music on the Mountain Views program at 6. We'll see you then. Have a great day.